So it's my honor to introduce my panelists who will be sharing their insights and their expertise on the subject. So in the interest of time, I'm quickly calling out your names and request you to please join me. Can I request Mr. Sunny Verma from JBM Group, Group Head L&D to join me on the dais. Sunny, a big round of applause for Sunny, please. The next in line is Ms. Anjalie Chaudhary, Head Organizational Effectiveness, Tech M. Anjali, please. The next, Teena Khanna, Director, Talent, L&D, Third Wave Coffee. Can we have a better round of applause, please? The next one, Manish Rastogi from Vodafone GMHR. Last but definitely not the least, Ms. Simran Sharma, HR Head, Hero Group. And while going through a LinkedIn, I said this earlier, this entire panel put together comes with 120 plus years of experience. So definitely whatever they're going to speak from their heart, from their experience. And trust me, if there's something which you can relate to and implement in your day-to-day life, I'm sure we all will be very happy that we met the objective of this forum. Thank you very much, and let me move there.
So Anand, you just made us feel like dinosaurs. And hungry ones at that.
Hungry, obviously. Great. So we had set some protocol, and then we get the message that our time has been reduced by 10 more minutes. So quickly, a quick recap what we agreed upon. On the subject, I am skipping my opening remarks. On the subject, all five of you, your opening remarks, not more than 1 minute. Post that, few questions which I will give to one by one, each one of you. At least one or two people should add upon, but not more than that. So the speaker whom the question is addressed, 2 minutes, add on not more than 30 seconds or 45 seconds, because you know what happens, we all are HRs, and especially with mics in our hand. So very difficult. Everybody would want to contribute, and it's fair. That's how we all learn, that's how we all grow. And at the end, closing remarks by everybody, and if time permits, definitely one or two questions from the wonderful audience. I hope this is okay for everybody. Game? Bang on. So let's follow the sequence only. So Teena is sitting next to me. So Teena, your opening remarks on the subject, and then we'll move on to the questions subsequently.
Thanks Dhruv. This is giving me anxiety, this clock ticking here. I think my opening remark about this whole discussion is, one, I want to break the stereotype that I've been hearing since morning, that it's these CFOs who look after the ROIs of digitization. Actually, no. I know the L&D leaders and HR leaders here, and some of them we've met before. Every HR and L&D leader is today focused on ROI. It's not the CFOs who are asking questions. It is us who are asking questions to the partners we work with. So I want to definitely break that stereotype, because it's high time we do that.
Thank you.
Fabulous, Teena.
Thank you,
and
Teena.
Adding into that, the stereotype that I want to address today is the lack of effectiveness in L&D and HR engagements. Just the name that we work with at TechM, which is organizational effectiveness. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's the name of the team that we represent, because everything that we do gets measured and has an efficacy attached to it. So I'll be happy to throw light on that as we go through the panel.
Thank you, Anjali. Over to you, Sunny.
Hello, am I audible? So I think in a global context, if we talk about geopolitical conflicts, concerns over inflation, economic instability, these are some of the areas which has overtaken COVID-19 as one of the risks for growing industries. And so when they are there, so we have to look at our organization capability through the lens of speed, resilience, and readiness. And that's what we are trying to unleash here, having agility as one of the prime areas here in the topic. So this is what it is, and I think this is how we'll be looking at it. And showcasing that what exactly it takes to make your organization or industry future ready in the right context. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you, Manish.
Right, thanks. I think things are changing than what they used to be and now what they are, whether it is HR practices or the way of working or L&D practices, it's the same, L&D and HR. So things are changing, moving fast towards digitization, and I think there are a lot of advantages of it. Of course, there are cons of it, but then we will have to pick and choose what suits us, not just go FOMO shopping, is what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you, Manish. Over to you.
Thank you so much. So before I start, I would like to say thanks to everyone. As I can see, a lot of renowned leaders and inspirational leaders, and I'm just a fresher. So please forgive me if I say something which is not appropriate. So पहले से ही माफ़ी मांग रही हूँ. So we are talking about evolving HR. So being in HR, what I believe कि पहले हम autocratic leadership के अंडर थे, जहाँ पर हमें सिर्फ instructions दी जाती थी, पर हमसे पूछा भी नहीं जाता था कि हमें क्या चाहिए और हम कैसे करेंगे. Am I right? जो भी HR और L&D के हैं हाथ उठा सकते हैं if they agree with me. Right. All right. So then from autocratic we moved to democratic, right? So they used to let us know that they're hearing. So there's a difference between listening and hearing. वो हमें सुनते थे, but instructions वही देते थे और हम सिर्फ काम करते थे. Monologue, stereotype. But अब हम laissez-faire में आ गए हैं, जहाँ पे उन्हें लगा that yes, we can independently take care of this department, and they've given it to us. Completely given it to us means पूरी कंपनी का जिम्मा अब हमारे ऊपर है, हमें दे दिया है किस तरीके से कॉम्पिटेंसी मैपिंग हम करेंगे और किस तरीके से इंडिविजुअल को समझ के हमें रोल डिफाइन करने हैं. फ्रॉम हायरिंग टू फायरिंग, एवरीथिंग we decide and we do. So that's so blissful, I would say. And I think that's all what I say that we'll discuss here.
Thank you, Simran. You missed my session. It's hyper-personalization. Thank you. So thank you, everybody, for your opening remarks. And I'm sure everybody spoke your heart out, what you think about this particular subject. Now we'll move on to the questions. So my first question will go to Anjalie, and coincidentally, she's sitting next to me. So Anjalie, Teena. Anjalie,
You need your
define
cards.
digital workforce and the digitalization you have experienced in your current organization, and what measures have been adopted to cater the needs of the current workforce, especially keeping the lens of digitalization, agility, at TechM, what all things have been done. Please throw some light on that.
Sure. Thanks a ton, Sunny. Anand.
Anand.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So two things that I'll throw light on is how do we define workforce at TechM? In order to share that with you, the first thing I'd like to do is to set a small context. TechM is an organization of about 1.2 lakh people. We are spread over 90 countries, multiple time zones, and multiple geographies, culture, diversity, etc. So this is inbuilt into our DNA. Currently, our workforce, specifically the one that I cater to, is consisting of about 60,000 odd people. Plus, we also give a lot of credit to 20,000 bots who help and build us, who help to build us efficiency and effectiveness in all the work that we deliver internally and externally. Okay? Now, allow me to give you some examples which we use day in, day out at TechM to make the life of our employee and specifically the frontliners fairly easy. Okay? On an average in a quarter, we have a movement of about 15,000 to 20,000 people. Yes, we suffer attrition the same way the other people sitting in the room do. And that poses a huge issue. Okay? The employee lifecycle management becomes the biggest equation for us to solve to move from one milestone to another. So there are 3-4 key milestones where we try to solve the problem. The first one is at the time of hiring and at the time of induction. So at the time of hiring and induction, everything in the organization has been digitized. You upload your documents on a shared drive with a certain ID even before you join. And once you join, you go through an induction, which is a blended case, where you have everything available on a certain site and somebody from the HR is guiding you smoothly through it. So that takes care of all our digitization need at that end. The second area which we figured that employees were losing interest and engagement was at the time when they have questions and queries over the policies. So what did we do? We created a bot to help us. So if I have a question, I don't have to pick up a call and call an Anand or call a Sunny or call a Simran. All I do is put in my query to the bot and the bot answers. Today, if I have to approve leave, I have to approve timesheets, I have to approve any kind of approval from my team, I do it through a bot on my phone under 5 seconds. So that's the second digitization. The third is, and which you will agree with me, is once an employee is settled in the organization, what are the 2 key questions they ask us? Development and growth. So for development, what we have done is we have digitized most of our stuff. We train about 5,000 people in a quarter. Okay? We clock over 15,000 development hours in a quarter. In order to make that happen, we need to be available to our people on a digital platform across the time zones. We use external vendors who help us to reach where we want to reach, and we do plethora of domain, functional, behavioral, people skill development interventions. And the third, but not the least, is the growth. So employee says, I'm engaged, I've joined an organization you claim to be a great place to work, you are giving me development opportunities, how do I grow? What's next for me? So in our organization, we have automated growth as well, to the point that we have over 8-9 people who grow every day, which means there's an actual job change taking place, and all this is happening seamlessly through technology. The internal job posting that you may be familiar with is something that we have automated end-to-end. So over a quarter, over a year rather, I think we would have somewhere around 2,500 to 3,000 people who actually gain internal growth. So this is how we are managing the challenge of digitization within the organization with the people in real time.
Great. Thank you so much for those wonderful insights, which brings me back to the point which I mentioned earlier. We can't goof up in basics. You build layers, that's absolutely fine. The constant challenge is the moment an employee joins, people are behind his life and they don't allow that person to get trained. Hence, I have made a policy: a fresher will be a HR baby for the next 60 days. Till 60 days, till he completes the entire product, process, systems training, I'm not going to hand over to you, because you are the same person who's going to come and tell me, "Arey, kisko lekar aaya? Kuch nahi aata hai isko." So if you see, it's a vicious cycle. If you don't invest, then you have no right to complain. Once they have completed those 60 days of training, which whatever you mentioned is so enlightening, you know, automation, bot, attrition angle, employee lifecycle management. What you mentioned at the end, typically the talent management practices using AI and digitalization, of course, keeps your employees engaged. And that's what the whole objective is. Sunny or Manish, any one of you want to just quickly add 3 points to what your organization or your experience on the same subject? Sunny, if you want to take the lead.
Again, I saved this bit for answering one of the questions on the tools and technology, but I think what we are trying to say is that the context should be clear. Yes. And the relevance. I mean, that is the mantra. We get carried away with the technology and tools available in the market today, but that's not how it should be. I mean, there will always be something which is insufficient. There is always be something which is futuristic, which is, fresh and new in the market. But then the whole purpose of understanding it in terms of your context, your company, your organization, your industry, your people is something which is very, very important, and I think we should look at it from that perspective.
Great, thank you. So my next question is to Manish. Of course, in the I would love to hear from each one of you, but again, this is the issue. So Manish, my question to you is, how the traditional and conventional training, typically the traditional learning and development function, has changed today from the digitalization lens, and what your current practices, any examples in your career you want to share with our wonderful audience as a learning practice?
Sure, thanks, Anand.
A little closer. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Anand. In my earlier panel discussion, I was asked the question, dream job in college. Trust me, I'm still in college. मैं उसके बाद से बाहर ही नहीं आ पाया. So I'm reminded of an instance in college, and there used to be a girl I would like. She was in a different course and different class. और वो जहाँ जहाँ जाती थी मैं भी उसके पीछे पीछे चला जाता था. वो कैंटीन जाती थी तो मैं भी कैंटीन पहुँच जाता था. वो चाय ऑर्डर करती थी तो मैं भी चाय ऑर्डर कर देता था बगल वाली डेस्क पे बैठ के. वो समोसे ऑर्डर करती थी तो मैं भी समोसे ऑर्डर करता था. और फिर वो बिल देने जाती थी तो मैं पीछे पीछे मैं भी बिल देने पहुँच जाता था. और वहाँ खड़े खड़े उसके बालों की खुशबू से एक लंबी सांस लेता था और मेरा दिल गार्डन गार्डन हो जाता था. ये सब देख के वो कभी कभी हंस दिया करती थी. न जाने वो देखकर हंसती थी या हंसकर देखती थी, मगर जब भी देखती थी कसम से दिल में तूफान आ जाता था.
क्या आज वो हमारी भाभी है?
धीरे धीरे हमारी कुछ बातें होने लगी. बहरहाल ये डिस्ट्रैक्ट हो रहे. कुछ इस तरह से हुआ करता था इश्क उस समय. अब ना जाने क्या होता है. टिंडर आ गया है. पहले ट्रेनिंग लर्निंग क्लासरूम में हुआ करती थी. अब मोबाइल आ गया है. टिंडराइज्ड हम भी हो रहे हैं. और जो रही सही कसर बाकी थी वो कोविड महाराज ने पूरी कर दी. तो जो कोविड के बाद समय आया, आई थिंक दोज थिंग्स वुड स्टे. दी VILT was given by COVID, and it is still there. Then the ILTs started getting reduced. The duration started getting reduced. So we used to have sessions of 3 days, 2 days, sometimes 4, 5 days. Now it is not more than 1 day. 1 day भी बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाता है, तो at times half day. So that is going to stay. So definitely these are some changes, and there are more happening when it comes to technology. मैं जब यहाँ आया तो मुझे टेसरेट के सुरेश भाई बाहर मिले, हाथ वाथ मिलाया, ग्रीटिंग्स हुई और बोले आज मेरे पास मोबाइल लर्निंग है, वर्चुअल रियलिटी है, ऑगमेंटेड रियलिटी है, मेटावर्स है, गेमिफिकेशन है, बाइट साइज लर्निंग है, माइक्रो लर्निंग है, डिजिटल लर्निंग है, तुम्हारे पास क्या है? तो मैंने बोला मेरे पास ये सब तो है, पर मेरे पास पर्सनल टच भी है, ह्यूमन टच अभी भी है. So I don't think that's ever going to go out. Suresh has covered a lot in terms of what digital trainings can do for us, and in terms of saving time, cost, and enhancing productivity. But yes, it has to be the blended thing. This is the way we will have to weave it, and to widen our reach. And one thing which I feel is these are tools. It's always better to have tools. They are costly. Let's not go FOMO shopping in terms of that fellow is having, so we should also invest. See, these are irreversible, largely decisions, and quite costly decisions. So do a due diligence as long as we can, and then go for it. So those are some of the things, trainings I would not talk much about in terms of technology, which has been talked about at length. We also have it along with personal touch. Right, thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Manish. So now that you have, भूख तो तुमने अंदर का बॉलीवुड जगा दिया है. So विद्या मैया ने कहा था फिल्में किस 3 वजहों से चलती है? Similarly, employees किस 3 वजह से रुकेंगे आपके पास? Engagement, engagement, engagement. So people need people is what, I would summarize this entire conversation. And definitely, we all are lifelong learners. While formally we graduated, so I'm glad to share that I'm currently pursuing my PhD because I believe we all should be lifelong students. The day you stop learning is the day you stop growing. And that's exactly what, Manish, the romantic story which you mentioned, it's all about connect, engagement, people, human touch, because that's what is going to keep us running for a long term. Thank you so much. I am not requesting anybody to add in the interest of time. My next question goes to Teena. So Teena, how today the digitalized framework and the processes are enhancing the productivity of your organization, of any organization, particularly keeping the angle of P&L. Why I'm saying the particular angle of P&L, I want everybody to clap for everybody in this room. I'll tell you why. First, please clap as loud as you can. HR was always a sideline function, and I have no shame in saying that. I have personally experienced it with one of my manufacturing unit experience. I was 1.5 kilometers away from the main production house. So physically भी हम sideline थे, mentally तो सवाल ही नहीं था. Today we all have proved our value. That's the reason for any business meeting which my CEO does. He first thing he asks is HR से कौन आ रहा है? Because now we have also started understanding business, understanding P&L, and we also bring those numbers, those values, those figures on the table, especially from a hiring, from a client location revenue perspective, from an engagement perspective. Everything is being measured. And that's why, a very important question coming to you. We would love to know your insights and what you have to share on this particular subject.
Great, thanks, Dhruv. I'll actually take that step forward. Today, they are not asking HR se kaun aa rahe. They're like, HR kyun nahi hai? HR is organizing those meetings saying we need to improve our bottom line by 1% and we are going to bring that by our people function and what is it we are going to do. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Traditionally, 10 years ago, I'm sure we were all told, get this digital, there's a new tool in the market, why don't we get it? We need people to learn mobile, it's very, like you said, someone said FOMO. We need to be looked as a digital first organization, but I think we've crossed that way out. In the organizations I've been associated with, especially with now Third Wave, which is a startup, we are looking at bottom line first, begin with end in mind, and then say what digital tools will add to that bottom line achievement. So for us, P&L obviously is the driver. Being a startup organization, we definitely need to be very focused on what is the revenue generation, but what is the cost burn today for us as well. So in our boardroom meetings, what we start with is, do we need to bring 1% cost low from a people function or a 1% or 12% better productivity in our people function, and hence we go backward and say, right, so what can recruitment do by bringing an ATS? Does it cut down my requirement of recruiters in the market? Can I then decentralize that function into my more operation functions because I'm giving them the tools? How does that impact my learning and development? Do I really need a big fancy hotel or a training center? Or can I move some part to it on a hybrid function, bring master classes, get the web-based training? Tesseract has been my go-to partner from last 2 organizations in Lenskart and now in Third Wave. And we know that with that, we really have revolutionized how blended trainings have happened. But it has all come at a very, very clear ROI. Our conversation with our vendors, with our partners, with our external trainers have always been, what is the actual tangible improvement either in our people skilling, people development, and hence productivity, or attrition, retention percentages. Give us that, put your money on the table, that if you don't achieve it, are you willing to give us a cutout there? and why should we go with you when there's so many obviously players out in the market. Thankfully, those conversations, like I said, are no longer driven by CXOs and CFOs. And I'm sure everybody agrees here. Today, when you're meeting the partners externally, you're no longer, we are talking about how does that help our employees to be engaged and motivated, but that's not the conversation starter. That's not the primary function of these digital tools. The primary function of digital tools is how do I make that person move faster in the job, help them be excited about the job, cut down some of the administration and unnecessary functions which can be taken up by either a bot or a digital tool. So they also feel that I'm adding real value instead of just filling up certain Excels or forms, etc. So the whole point is it needs to be both focused. I'm a very big proponent of digital only when it's required. Don't over-digitize when it's not required, because at the end of the day, these all come at a cost. And the justification of cost is at the bottom lines that we are generating. And hence, HR is today seen as a partner, in fact, a proponent of bottom line, not just somebody who's a support function.
Absolutely, truly justified. Thank you so much. And this again takes me back to a small WhatsApp story. It's a fact. Discussion between CFO, CHRO, and business. Yeah, we are training our people and they're leaving. Why do we train them? Then, the human element and the learning and development element comes and says, what if we don't train them and they stay back? So that's very important. Investing in our people is something which we all need to focus. Few pointers to pick up from what you mentioned. Definitely, as a HR, everybody would want to focus the journey of transformation. Transactionals we have been doing since a very, very long time. And thanks to AI, bot automation, there is a lot of time which we save, which we can invest. And using that time, if you can retain and engage your employees, because today, retention is the new recruitment. Let me tell you, retention is a new recruitment. At the same time, from an employee lifecycle management, if you are able to make sure that even an exiting employee talks good about you. So when somebody questions me, Anand, how do we rate ourselves? I said, if you really want to see your ratings, if your exiting employee is talking good about you, that's the beautiful and the topmost rating for you, because once the employee is out, I'm sure, what do? The first thing is we go to Glassdoor and we mention something if we are not happy. So these are 2-3 pointers which clearly comes out as a part of our conversation. And today we are able to manage that. That's the reason, Teena, today we are a part of this important discussion and we are very much in the business talking about numbers and P&L. Thank you, Teena. I'll move on to the next question, which will be going to Simran. Simran, transactional to transformational journey of the L&D function. When I say L&D function, definitely it's the HR function on account of digitalization and how today we are at the center point of this business, which we were just discussing a while ago. So from your experience, any pointers, anything which you want to share? And I also want to quote something which I got to know about Simran on a personal front. She runs her NGO and supports approximately 40 plus people, kids on the education front through her coaching sessions, and whatever revenue is generated, she diverts that to them. That deserves a big round of applause.
Thank you so much.
And I'm glad to know this, Simran. Over to you. You want me to repeat the question?
No.
Extension of what we just discussed, but
yes.
Purely from your practices, what do you do? And from your lens, how this has happened?
Absolutely. So thank you so much for bringing that noble cause, what I do, because I personally feel that you can change somebody's life only by educating that. So if you're not educating somebody, you're just helping, giving skills, giving everything on his plate, you're not doing justice. So education has always been a part of my domain, and I'm always excited about this. So as again, जैसे आपने मुझे पहले कहा था कि stick to the topic and time precise. So let me quickly share my thoughts about transactional to transformational. So पहले भी हम HR ही थे, but हमें कोई पूछता नहीं था. काम हम वही कर रहे थे, पर दिखता नहीं था. छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल लूँगी मम्मियों का. आपके घर में, सबके घर में मम्मियाँ होती हैं, काम वो बहुत करती हैं, 24 घंटे काम करती हैं, एक छुट्टी भी नहीं होती, लेकिन काम उनका नहीं दिखता है। पापा का काम बहुत दिखता है बिकॉज ही अर्न्स मनी, राइट? सो मेजॉरिटी गोज टू मनी, क्योंकि पैसे से सब होता है। सो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में भी पहले आनंद ऐसा ही था कि एचआर को इसलिए वैल्यू नहीं दी जाती थी बिकॉज इट वाज अ सपोर्ट सिस्टम। बट आई वुड से थैंक्स टू कोविड, बिकॉज कोविड के बाद जो ह्यूमैनिटीज़ चाहिए थी, जो एचआर के अंदर होती हैं, वी केम अप टू ऑल दोज थिंग्स। सो शायद ओनर्स को पता चला कि इट्स नॉट ओनली स्किल्स, इट्स नॉट ओनली नॉलेज, गूगल पे सब मिल जाएगा, बट ह्यूमैनिटी, connecting with different people, making them positive, making them motivated, going through that journey was the important part of everything. So we were outsider and now we are backbone of this body. That's what I personally feel. Organization में हम अब एक backbone बन चुके हैं, जो hire भी हम करते हैं, it's like, you know, we are nurturers. हम पैदा भी करते हैं, हम बच्चे को पैदा करते हैं, मतलब हम एम्प्लॉयज़ को लेके आ रहे हैं अपनी कंपनी में, और उसके बाद हर स्टेप पे उसका सपोर्ट, उसको क्या करना है, कैसे करना है, पहले नहीं थे, बट अब तो एजुकेशनल चीज़ों में भी मदर्स का बहुत बड़ा कंट्रीब्यूशन है। एक अचार बेचने वाली घर में अचार बनाती थी और अब उसका बिजनेस हो गया है। पापड़ घर में बनते थे, अब वो बिजनेस हो गया है। सो दैट्स ऑल मटीरियलाइजिंग। सो वी आर डूइंग द सेम थिंग। पहले हम मैनुअली करते थे सब कुछ, अब हम डिजिटलाइजेशन के थ्रू करते हैं। पहले हम गिनते थे। आई कम फ्रॉम मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडस्ट्री, तो जो वर्कर्स होते हैं बहुत स्मार्ट होते हैं, आ गए चले गए, पता ही नहीं चलेगा कि कितने आए। 300 आए पर रहे 150, सो गए। यू नो, दैट्स पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस आई एम शेयरिंग, पीपल कैन रिलेट जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडस्ट्री से हैं। सो व्हाट वी डिड, डिजिटलाइजेशन, फेस रीडिंग, क्योंकि एक्सेस कार्ड में भी गोची होती है, तू मेरा ले जा यार, कर दियो, बट वी डिड फेस रीडिंग। सो दैट्स हाउ वीव कम अक्रॉस द अदर थिंग। फिर हमारा एम्प्लॉय एंगेजमेंट आता है, जहाँ पर हम पर्सनली जाके मिलते थे, बिकॉज स्ट्रेंथ बहुत ज़्यादा है, हर कोई हमसे नहीं मिल पाता था, तो एक प्लेटफॉर्म है मेंटिस। आई एम श्योर सबके पास अपने अपने सिस्टम्स होंगे जहाँ पे टिकट रेस हो सकता है। उसका टैग बनाया कि हमें 24 घंटे के अंदर किसी भी कंसर्न को क्लोज करना है। अगर मेरा है मैं करूँगी, अगर मेरा नहीं है आई विल डेलीगेट दैट टू अदर डिपार्टमेंट। सो दैट्स अगेन स्टेप 2। स्टेप 3, पहले कहते थे कि अच्छा आप क्या करते हैं, एचआर हैं, अच्छा रंगोली बनाने वाले, ओ हो, दैट्स पर्सनली हैपेंड विद मी। एंड जहाँ बात हो लड़कों की, वहाँ तो रिलेट ही नहीं कर सकती हमारी सोसाइटी जो है। एचआर में हो, अरे यार लड़के थोड़ी होते हैं एचआर में, लड़कियों का काम है यार वो तो। आई एम श्योर
You have come a long way.
you can relate, right? So, but today, when I see people with digitalization, I can see when we say that, yes, I'm a part of HR. So they understand that I am part of learning and development. I am a part of the complete growth, not just hiring and firing and issuing letters. No, I am a part of every step you do. So बच्चे को पैदा करने से बच्चे को सेटल करने तक का हमारा सफ़र, that is called HR now.
Great.
As per me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And just adding fuel to the fire which you have ignited. Whatever we are discussing, it's more from a reactive point of view. If you see, any good decisions are always taken after one incident. Why can't we take proactive decisions? And this is also one of the reasons why we have come the long way, because we have started taking proactive decisions. If a work can be done in 2 rupees, rather than saying cost cutting, let's say cost conscious. Why to spend 2.5? So this is what has really, really brought us a long, long way. So my next question would go to Sunny. Sunny, what strategies you think as a HR, L&D leaders, trainers, we can employ to effectively drive the adoption of digital tools and technologies in the current workforce, which is a mixture combination of everybody?
So I got that question and I will answer. So my question to Simran, right? So अब हम मम्मी हैं कि पापा हैं? अब हम दोनों हैं. So, talking about strategy, so that is a very interesting book on strategy which I read, the last book on strategy, which is Your Strategy Needs a Strategy by Martin Reeves. Interesting book, just see if you can get your hands on. But then again, when we're talking about strategy for using those tools and technologies in your organization, again, I'll stick to what I said is context and relevance. And it should come up from not somebody selling it to you, but from your need as one of the major requirements. I remember somebody selling me e-learning 10 years back in one of my previous organizations, and I was like, why? I don't need it. And then constant discussions around why we should have it. And that's how we got it. And then comes the part that the kind of modules existing in that sort of platform, why should I go through them? What is the relevance of it? So then I requested them to map it with my competencies to create that sort of relevance for me as an organization. And that is how it becomes customized and bespoke. So that is one example of using it. And then comes, like for example, in my current organization, we have 78 manufacturing plants. And on these 78 manufacturing plants, we have white collars and blue collars. And induction for both of them happens in 78 into 78 ways. Somebody is doing it in an hour, somebody is doing it in 2 days, and God knows what all they are doing it in those variations. Yeah. So what we did is try to create an e-induction for them, which is standardized, which means anybody from Kashmir to Kanyakumari joins us, goes through a similar standard experience of onboarding and induction. So that is solving my purpose. So that's how we are trying to create something for the blue-collar workers as well. So that is an example of e-induction. Now, bringing gamification into it, making knowledge checks a part of it. Now, all these things should come as an organic need, not in terms of something which is there in the market and I want to have it. Let's say I have used virtual reality in inductions, where a guy who joins in anywhere just wears that gadget and goes through all of your sites at one go, sitting there for 2 hours at a particular location. So that's amazing. I mean, that's something which is solving my purpose. So instead of sending everybody to every site, I'm giving that experience in that one room, right? So we have to understand the context of why we need something. Any tool, any technology, and so many things are available. We talk about augmented, e-learning, gamification, mobile learning, virtual, and so on and so forth. ChatGPT, for that matter, is something which everybody is talking about. So I would stick to it that before we strategize and before we look at what is the context or perspectives on which we have to evaluate, we have to understand why we need it. Long-term, futuristic. You know, there is a need at times which is today and only for today. But we have to look at it from a long-term perspective of why we need a particular technology or tool, and that's how we should map everything. That is a part on technology we talk about. Second is in terms of what we all are speaking about is the relevance of L&D or HR. Now again, one thing which I have learned hard way in these 20 years is, unless and until you are not solving any problem, it doesn't matter you exist or not. So the whole trick or the art is to solve some business challenges in your organization. Find them out. You should be aware of what is happening around in your organization. Forget about the industry. What is happening in your own department? What is happening in your building? So if you have that sort of alert mind with respect to challenges and problems, then at least you can contribute in solving them. And if you are a problem solver, then I think there is definitely a seat for you. So that is one thing which I think really helped us in creating those solutions in the name of interventions and programs. Not just vanilla programs of something which is happening in the world, I also want to do it. No. Tell me the problem, let me create a solution for you. That is how you contribute there and add value to that business.
Great. Thank you so much, Sunny. Yes, no more bells required. This was the last question. So I had one question which I thought as a closing question we all should answer, but in the interest of time, if I want to summarize this entire conversation into 4 or 5 words, those 4 or 5 words are, whatever you're doing should get measured. Only when things get measured, we can bring that value, we can quantify what is the outcome, and what is the output from a percentage number point of view. Second, everybody focuses on customer experience. Every organization has a beautiful customer experience strategy. What about employee experience strategy? And I'm glad whatever you spoke, definitely bang on, it focuses on the employee experience, because a happy employee makes a happy customer makes a happy employee, and a combination of both these happiness increases your productivity, and that's how organization grows. So thank you very much for your wonderful insights.
एक line.
Yes.
बस. So just one word. हम HR क्या करते हैं? Human being को being human में convert करते हैं. That's all.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great. Thank you very much. If time permits, can we take one question from the audience?
We just have
Okay, I got the message. Thank you so much. He pressed the bell. So thank you. With this, we come to the end of our session.
Thank you so much, the moderator and panelists, for speaking your heart out. And now I would request Mr. Amindranath Mishra to please be on the stage to felicitate our panelists. Thank you so much. Requesting Mr. Mishra to please felicitate Mr. Sunny Verma. Thank you. And now I would request to please felicitate Ms. Anjalie Chaudhary. Thank you. And now I would request to please felicitate Ms. Teena Khanna. Thank you. Lastly, please felicitate Mr. Manish Rastogi. Thank you so much. And please now felicitate Miss Simran. Thank you so much.